I want to start off today by asking you a question, and it might seem a little counterintuitive at first.
Oh, I love starting with a curveball.
Right. So, whether you are a hiring manager, a sales director, or an executive trying to scale a high-performing team, what do you think is the single most dangerous moment in a sales career?
I mean, you'd probably immediately picture a catastrophic, terrible quarter.
Oh, totally. A quarter where every target is just completely missed.
Yeah, the pipeline dries up, major accounts churn, and basically everything is on fire.
Exactly. But the data actually tells a completely different story.
It does, which is fascinating.
Because the most dangerous moment isn't a bad quarter, it's actually a completely flat one.
Which sounds like a paradox, I know. We are wired to assume that a catastrophic failure is the absolute worst-case scenario in business.
Right, because failure is loud.
Exactly.
Hmm.
But when we analyze the psychology of high-performing sales teams, a flat period acts as this, silent killer of sustainable sales success.
Yeah, a bad quarter forces action, but a flat quarter creates this slow, paralyzing doubt.
It really does.
So we are diving deep into this specific phenomenon today. We're drawing on a piece of analysis by Wynne Nathan Davis, published by the Sales Experts.
It's a great piece. Really eye-opening.
It is. We are going to deconstruct the mechanics of why stagnant revenue completely dismantles a professional's confidence.
And beyond just the psychology, we are pulling out the actual operational mechanics you need to navigate these plateaus.
Yes, so if you are a sales leader trying to guide your team back to growth, or even a rep diagnosing your own stagnation, we are treating this as your ultimate survival guide to sales success.
Because to map our way out of a flat period, we really have to isolate the mechanical differences between a bad quarter and a flat one.
The operational responses required for each are entirely distinct.
It couldn't be more different.
Okay, let's unpack this. When a quarter is genuinely terrible, it is deeply uncomfortable.
Brutal, honestly.
Yeah, brutal. However, it offers one massive strategic advantage. The root cause is almost always highly visible.
A terrible quarter leaves a massive footprint. If you are missing targets by 50%, there are obvious symptoms. Your inbound lead generation might have slowed to a trickle because of some algorithm change.
Right, or a new competitor might have aggressively entered the market and completely undercut your pricing strategy.
Exactly. Or macroeconomic conditions shifted dramatically, and procurement departments instantly froze all their spending.
The cause is tangible. You know it is broken, so you can initiate a targeted recovery plan.
It's basically like your car's check engine light suddenly flashing red on the dashboard.
With thick black smoke pouring out from under the hood.
Yes. You pull over, you call a mechanic, and you start replacing parts. It is stressful, but the path forward is perfectly clear.
But a flat quarter is entirely different. A flat quarter is when you are driving, the engine temperature is perfectly normal, the oil pressure is optimal.
The tires are fully inflated.
Right, but the car is just inexplicably sluggish. You press the accelerator to the floor, the RPMs spike, and the car simply refuses to go any faster.
And you don't call a mechanic because all the diagnostic screens tell you nothing is wrong.
You actually just start questioning your own sanity.
What's fascinating here is the psychological decay that specific type of uncertainty creates within an experienced professional.
Because in a flat quarter, the CRM looks incredibly healthy, right?
Oh, perfectly healthy.
Mm-hmm.
The quantitative metrics are flawless.
You are making your prospecting calls, you're mapping out complex accounts.
You're sending out highly detailed proposals, and you are rigorously following up.
The pipeline contains enough volume to theoretically hit the quota.
And the manager isn't even intervening because structurally, the salesperson is executing the playbook perfectly.
The inputs are flawless, but the revenue output remains stubbornly flat. Nothing appears broken, yet absolutely nothing meaningful improves.
The numbers just refuse to move.
Yeah.
Because there is no obvious external failure, like no catastrophic loss of a key customer or sudden drop in lead flow.
Experienced salespeople stop interrogating their environment and they start interrogating their own competence.
Exactly. This is the exact inflection point where the erosion of confidence begins.
They start wondering if their previous years of sales success were just a byproduct of a hot market.
They worry that the industry has somehow evolved without them noticing.
And that internal narrative creates a vicious cycle. The self-doubt kicks in, and the immediate instinct is to abandon the established process and change absolutely everything.
Which brings us to a massive structural hurdle.
Right.
Ripping up the playbook during a flat period is frequently the most expensive, destructive mistake a commercial leader can make.
It destroys momentum entirely.
It does. And that destructive instinct stems from one of the most pervasive misconceptions in commercial enterprise.
Which is what?
The assumption that professional effort produces a linear, immediate result.
Ah, yeah. We are socially conditioned to expect that pressing a button today delivers a widget today.
Exactly. But B2B commercial performance is fundamentally non-linear.
We're talking about complex sales environments here. Enterprise software, artificial intelligence, heavy manufacturing.
Professional services. These are not transactional, swipe the credit card impulse buys.
No, not at all.
The buying mechanics in those sectors are incredibly complex.
Yeah.
You're dealing with multi-threaded buying committees.
A prospect might spend 6 months evaluating different suppliers, consulting external analysts, and building internal consensus before they even fill out a contact form.
Right, or consider an existing relationship you've been carefully nurturing for over a year.
Yeah.
It might suddenly materialize into a massive contract overnight simply because an incumbent competitor missed a crucial delivery deadline.
And none of those underlying dynamics are going to be captured in today's pipeline report. The dashboard only shows the final, lagging result.
The results you secure today are the direct, compounding outcomes of operational work completed 2, 3, or sometimes 6 quarters ago.
Wow, 6 quarters ago.
In B2B sales, trust is a compounding asset. Reputation is a compounding asset.
The fundamental friction is that the salesperson's effort is immediate, but the visible revenue is delayed by the natural inertia of the buyer's procurement cycle. Exactly. When Nathan Davis's article uses this brilliant illustrative analogy here about planting seeds in a garden.
Oh, I love this analogy.
Yeah. So you plant a seed, wait 2 weeks, and when you don't see a sprout, you don't dig up the soil to check if the seed is alive.
Right, you trust the unseen germination process.
But in B2B sales, I think we can also look at it like a complex supply chain.
How do you mean?
Well, changing your entire sales methodology during a flat quarter because you aren't seeing closed-won deals is like a factory manager completely retooling an assembly line just because the delivery trucks haven't arrived at the final warehouse yet.
Oh, that is spot on.
The product is already moving through the system. It's on the ships, it's on the trains. Retooling the factory now just ensures you won't have anything to ship next quarter.
Panicking and retooling the factory destroys the unseen momentum.
It really does.
When revenue plateaus, salespeople start experimenting with completely new outreach cadences.
They pivot to entirely different ideal customer profiles.
They abandon the consultative methods that historically generated results and revert to high-pressure closing tactics.
They basically just generate motion to create the illusion of progress.
Because it feels significantly better to tear up a pitch deck than to sit in the discomfort of waiting for a complex deal to navigate a prospect's legal department.
It provides temporary emotional relief, but it is strategically disastrous.
Completely. The discovery conversations, the patient relationship building, the credibility established through consistent market insights.
That work does not produce immediate cash.
No, it produces pipeline momentum. Changing strategy prematurely interrupts that momentum right before it crosses the threshold into visible revenue.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though, because as a listener, as a chief revenue officer or a VP of sales, you might be thinking, at what point does patience just become a highly convenient corporate excuse for a broken process?
That is the million-dollar question.
Right. We cannot simply counsel our teams to blindly trust a failing strategy indefinitely. How does a sales leader forensically audit a pipeline to ensure they aren't just being complacent?
The highest-performing commercial organizations do not rely on blind optimism. They draw a hard empirical line between patience and complacency.
And how do they do that?
By decoupling their daily confidence from lagging indicators, like closed revenue, and aggressively auditing their leading indicators.
Let's define the mechanics of that audit. Leading indicators predict future success. What specific advanced metrics are elite performers looking at?
They look for qualitative progression, not just quantitative activity.
So instead of asking, did we hold 20 discovery calls?
Exactly. Instead, they ask, are we successfully multi-threading these accounts?
Meaning, are we speaking exclusively to lower-level champions, or are we actively securing access to the true economic buyer?
Right. They evaluate the depth of the friction uncovered. Are prospects articulating a genuine, quantified cost of inaction?
Or are the conversations staying strictly surface level about features and benefits?
That is a critical distinction. A rep could easily log 100 calls in the CRM, But if none of those calls uncover a critical business pain that costs the prospect money every day, it goes unsolved.
Then the pipeline is just full of air.
Exactly. Furthermore, they audit the nature of the follow-up. Is the follow-up creating reciprocal engagement?
A complacent rep sends a just checking in email and counts it as a touch point.
But a patient, strategic rep sends a customized business case to the prospect's CFO and measures success by whether the CFO actually engages with the document.
Finally, they look at referral velocity. Are current conversations generating introductions to other departments or external peers?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, these leading indicators are essentially the telemetry data of your sales process.
They tell you if the rocket is still on the correct trajectory, even if it hasn't reached orbit yet.
Beautifully said. If a rep is booking meetings with actual decision makers, quantifying the cost of inaction, and prospects are returning their calls,
But the revenue is temporarily flat.
then staying the course is the only logical, data-driven decision. The strategic adjustments must always be driven by evidence.
Rather than the emotional friction of a flat quarter, elite salespeople anchor their confidence to the execution of this process.
While average performers tether their entire self-worth to the lagging result.
Yeah, a massive commission check makes the average rep feel invincible, but a delayed contract makes them feel incompetent.
High performers understand that commercial sales involves massive variables outside their control.
Like a prospect's board of directors freezing capital expenditures, or a key stakeholder suddenly resigning.
You cannot mandate a prospect's internal capital allocation.
But you do retain total control over the rigor of your own discovery framework.
Right. True professional confidence is the byproduct of rigorous preparation and consistent behavior, not just the dopamine hit of a signed contract.
This transitions us perfectly into our second major takeaway.
Yeah.
And this is directed squarely at the executive listener.
It's so important for leadership to hear this.
Managing the psychology of the individual contributor is one thing, but the managerial response to a flat period is often the actual catalyst for a downward spiral.
Because managers panic too.
Oh, they definitely panic. And when they do, they deploy the most damaging reflex in the management playbook.
The demand for raw volume.
Yes. When a team hits a plateau, the default managerial instinct is to increase activity metrics.
Make double the calls. Book twice as many meetings.
Send 1,000 more automated emails. Fill out daily forecast updates.
It is identical to yelling at a marathon runner who has hit the physiological wall at mile 20 to simply run faster.
The runner's glycogen stores are completely depleted. Screaming for more speed does not alter their cellular biology.
It just causes them to collapse sooner.
If the foundational activity is already occurring, demanding more volume simply generates market noise, not revenue.
Pushing for volume when activity is already optimal is a profound leadership failure.
It demonstrates a total lack of diagnostic capability.
Exceptional sales leaders utilize flat periods as a dedicated, focused opportunity to systematically coach quality.
So if a VP of sales is staring at a dashboard showing flat revenue, but the activity metrics are green, I imagine they need a diagnostic tool.
They do. They need a structural MRI for their sales team, rather than just telling them to run faster.
They need to understand the mechanics of the conversations happening behind closed doors.
And this is where Win Nathan Davis's piece introduces some highly specific diagnostic frameworks used by the sales experts to audit that quality.
It requires a mechanical shift in how we evaluate talent. The article references the Sales Hunter Intelligence Evaluation.
Yes, that framework is designed specifically to move beyond surface-level metrics.
It doesn't just measure if a salesperson can read a script.
Exactly. It evaluates the underlying cognitive and behavioral traits required to execute complex B2B sales.
How does that actually work mechanically? Like, what is the framework isolating?
It maps out specific competencies that become highly vulnerable during a flat quarter.
Oh, interesting. Like,
For instance, it evaluates a salesperson's consultative posture versus their need for approval.
So during a flat period, a rep with a high need for approval will start discounting aggressively.
Or over-promising features just to get a prospect to like them and sign a deal.
That makes total sense.
The framework also measures emotional resilience and situational judgment. It diagnoses whether a rep possesses the analytical capability to navigate ambiguity without defaulting to panic behaviors.
So it gives the sales leader a real blueprint. Instead of saying, you need to close more deals.
The manager can say, the evaluation shows you are struggling to challenge the prospect's assumptions when they push back on pricing.
Let's role play that specific friction point. It creates highly targeted coaching.
The targeted intervention is the entire purpose. And once you understand the individual's behavioral mechanics, you apply that data to the broader organizational structure.
Which brings us to the five-stage sales team scaling system.
Right. It is a sequencing mechanism for commercial growth.
A sequencing mechanism, meaning you cannot scale what you have not yet stabilized.
Exactly the opposite of what panicking managers do. The five-stage system operates on causality.
So stage one is establishing a brutally objective baseline of your current talent pool using tools like the intelligence evaluation.
Stage two requires aligning your leading indicators strictly with how your specific buyers actually procure services.
Stage three is the implementation of the targeted quality coaching we just discussed.
Stage four is the achievement of predictable forecasting based on those newly refined behaviors.
And only when you reach stage five do you actually scale the headcount and amplify the volume.
The mechanical failure happens when a CRO experiences a flat quarter, panics, and immediately jumps to stage five,
They hire 5 new reps and double the marketing spend.
completely ignoring the fact that stage two, the alignment of leading indicators, is fundamentally broken.
Pouring fuel into an engine with cracked cylinders doesn't make the car go faster.
It just causes a more spectacular explosion.
Frameworks like the five-stage system force leadership to respect the sequence.
It provides an objective, empirical roadmap that prevents executives from making reactive, emotion-driven structural changes when the revenue temporarily stalls.
So what does this all mean? If we zoom out and analyze the architecture of the most successful commercial organizations, the growth charts are never uninterrupted, 45-degree upward lines.
If you dissect the careers of top performers, you will uncover massive periods where progress felt agonizingly slow.
You will find accounts that required 2 years of patient, strategic multi-threading before a single dollar changed hands.
You will see markets that demanded immense unrewarded education before the momentum finally tipped and procurement gates opened.
When those elite professionals look back at those flat quarters, they do not view them as evidence of incompetence.
No, they recognize that those specific periods of stagnation were the exact moments they poured the concrete foundation for the subsequent years of massive growth.
The definitive difference between the sales organizations that achieve sustainable dominance and those that constantly churn through talent is constraint.
The top tier demonstrated the discipline to not abandon a mathematically sound process simply because the lagging indicators hadn't updated yet.
They maintained the rigor of their discovery. They protected the integrity of their pricing.
They trusted the mechanics of the compounding pipeline.
This raises an important question for you to consider as you evaluate your own commercial strategy today.
If B2B sales results are unequivocally a compounding lag indicator,
If the contracts you sign this afternoon are the direct manifestation of the strategic relationship building you executed months ago,
what does your flat quarter today reveal about the invisible foundation you were, or perhaps were not, building 2 quarters ago?
that is the ultimate diagnostic question. A flat quarter is not an indictment of your effort today. It is a forensic audit of your pipeline discipline from 6 months ago.
As a leader, do not allow the discomfort of a flat dashboard to goad you into the most expensive mistake in commercial business.
Take immediate action by auditing your team's leading indicators. Are you actively coaching the quality of the commercial conversation, or are you just lazily demanding more noise?
It's time to find out.
If you want to ensure your organizational architecture is sound, or if you need to secure the top 1% of elite sales talent who natively understand how to maneuver through these complex plateaus,
We highly recommend exploring the resources at thesalesexperts.com.
you can examine their proprietary evaluation frameworks, book a highly strategic hiring consultation, or subscribe to the Predictable Sales Growth newsletter for ongoing operational insights.
You have the mechanics, you understand the psychology, now execute the process.
Keep building that momentum, and we will see you on the next deep dive.